gotten farther than I calculated. They are very resourceful, but they shall go no farther. Activate the mines. Let us see how far they get now.
Just say the word. Say the word.
My life is yours. This place feels strange. I sense nothing living, yet there is activity here.
Pure Bazak. Pure Bazak. Let me take care of this. Damn thing's stuck.
How may I serve? My life.
The word.
How may I serve?
Not again.
The hopo botenya go jucho picha, Gwen tabani sochu, Norotoga proto lala shishi, Jubadosa jibacha, Ratakman san, Dokosha na chitolo, Kavadumpe masuraku, Popayi botenya, Tachimurota kamsa, Javasko bosabjob, Rigiso karvenoxo, Mochitosa sagrindeo.
Run? I didn't run from you two shuttas last time. And this time, I'm gonna make sure you stay down.
I can't believe we just blew up Godo's yacht. That's gonna destabilize crime throughout this whole sector.
Yeah, well, you'll understand if I hold back the tears.
You don't understand. Crime in the YouTube system, it's like the economy. Plus the power vacuum. Even if Voga gets up and running again, the system is gonna be feeling the effects for years to come.
Yeah, well, at least we didn't find that Jedi Master with the weird name.
Says Kyle? Well, that's not true. I already found him. Actually, he found me first. He hired me to watch out for you, keep Godo off your back until he could meet with you. We'll need to head back to Nar Shaddaa, to that safe house off the docks. I said I'd meet up with him there if we ran into any trouble. What do you want now?
If you thought to escape my notice so easily, you would be wrong. As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift. This droid. It will serve you well on your journey. I'm afraid I do not understand what you mean. As I indicated, this unit will remain with you and guard you. It will also serve as an effective voice for my orders during your journey. I cannot harm you. You are the key to saving the Republic. Pray that you do not prove yourself otherwise.
So, you have returned from exile. Kavar thought you might, if only to wander your old battlegrounds. But I did not think you would come to Nar Shaddaa. Still, you were always a difficult one to read, both when you were tied to the Force, and even more when it was lost to you. I do not know. It was a sense he had, and he had served in war, as you had. Perhaps he thought he understood you, or maybe he simply hoped he did. He felt you were the key to understanding the threat we face. The others were not so certain, but so many of them are gone now, as you no doubt know. He sensed some connection between you and many of the worlds touched by war. He thought by traveling to such places, he could achieve understanding. No doubt. I think the answers will provide us both with some measure of peace. I have kept secrets for far too long. We told you it was because you followed Revan to war, but you ask because you are not certain of that answer, nor were we. The day we cast you out, that is the moment I decided to leave the Order. Because I do not believe we truly faced the reasons you were exiled, and if we do not examine such truths, then we are already lost. I think it was because we were afraid. It is a difficult thing to live one's life with the Force. To see a vision of what it would be like to be severed from it, it is more frightening than you know. What I can tell you, I will. It is a long story, but there is no harm in you knowing, and someone should know. Only a handful of us remained after the Jedi Civil War, barely 100 in number. Then, even that 100 began to vanish, in places where the Force seemed blind. The only pattern we determined is that when Jedi gathered, they were seen no more. At the last Jedi conclave on the Miraluka world of Qatar, the entire planet was wiped out. An entire race destroyed because the Jedi chose to gather there. It was only then that we realized we were facing something far more powerful than we knew how to fight. We could not allow the fact that when we gathered, we placed everything around us at risk. A Jedi's life is sacrifice, but we cannot allow our presence or actions to endanger others. And we cannot fight an enemy that will not reveal itself. But any Jedi, anyone who was strong in the Force, who attempted to track down such a threat, vanished without a trace. It does, but you must step back to see it. Whatever this threat was, it was targeting us and everything around us. Yet it was somehow weak enough that it was afraid to confront us openly. If it believed us defeated, then perhaps it would finally show itself. It was a faint hope, but it was the best we had. It was Kavar's plan. He was always the greatest tactician among us, and had seen war more than the rest of us. Very well. They have scattered, but there is purpose in their movements. It is both to hunt and draw out our enemies. Somehow, we, are being targeted through the Force, and when Jedi gather, we are vulnerable. So we have chosen places where it is difficult to sense others through the Force, whether on planets dense with life, or touched by war. In such places, we may conceal ourselves, gather information, without presenting ourselves as targets. It was part of Kavar's plan. Yes, he felt if our enemy cannot detect us, then perhaps they would believe themselves victorious and show themselves. And we knew that the war would be lost if we continued to act as we had. I do not know where they wander now. There are few of us, though. Too few, and I have not heard from them in some time. Brooke still lives? I had not felt his presence for some time. Very well. I had thought perhaps that here upon the Smuggler's Moon, I might find some evidence of the threat we faced. The bounties on Jedi and their disappearance. I did not believe the two were connected, but there was a chance. And the strong currents of life here on Nar Shaddaa make perceiving a Force user difficult. I could use it to cloak my movements and watch without being discovered. No, you are right. That is not the whole truth. It is difficult to detect a Force user on Nar Shaddaa, and I knew it. This threat we face, it leaves wounds in the Force when it strikes. It leaves nothing. To live life without the Force, to vanish and die and leave only an echo, it was terrifying. To be connected to all life around you, then to have it stripped, I can only imagine what it must have been like for you. But even that imagining cannot compare with the truth. But there is more than that. On Nar Shaddaa, one cannot escape what was left from the Jedi Civil War. From the failure of the Masters, from our failure to properly train Jedi, came disaster. And I wondered if perhaps the teachings of the Jedi had been our failing all along. There have been so many failures by teachers who believed in the code with all their being. Master Arca failed Ulic, as Master Boss failed Exar Kun, as Kay and Zar and the others of the Council failed Revan and Malak. For all the acts we do to preserve the galaxy, from such an arrogance that all we do is right and just, I wonder if there is a counter-effect that is created that strikes back at us. Exar Kun, Ulic Keldroma, Malak, Revan, you, all Jedi. There is something wrong in the Force, a wound, a sound that is growing, like a scream. You can hear it echo on Nar Shaddaa. Sometimes when the moon is on orbit, it is a frightening thing to feel, that perhaps being connected to all life is not enlightenment at all, but simply another doom. And I think that maybe, perhaps, to forsake the Force as you did, to cut loose our bonds, may not be the wrong thing to do. You taught me something important in the Council Chamber long ago, Exile, and it has stayed with me all these years. You were right to do what you did. Everything you did. Now I must take up the role I was ready to cast aside. This threat has finally revealed itself, and we Jedi will need to stand together. I did not speak fully of what I have felt. Staying on Nar Shaddaa, it is an exile of sorts, one that I have chosen. I, too, lost a Padawan on Malachor, not to the battle, but to the alternative, to the teachings that Revan brought from the unknown regions. And I was not the only Jedi Master to watch a student turn on them. No, they were not to blame, but many of the Order did so. It was a difficult time, a time of strong emotion. Perhaps the Council, perhaps the Order itself, had grown arrogant in their teachings. It is easy to cast blame, but it is perhaps time the Order accepted responsibility for their teachings and their arrogance, and come to recognize that perhaps we are flawed. Not once did I hear one of the Council claim responsibility for Revan, for Exar Kun, for Ulic, for Malak, or for you. Yet, you were the only one who came back from the wars to face our judgment. And rather than attempting to understand why you did what you did, we punished you instead. Our one chance to see where we had gone wrong, and we cast it aside. And now, that decision has come back to us and may carry with it our destruction. Perhaps there is something wrong in us, in our teachings, and though I tried, I could not cause that thought to leave me, so I left the Council. And I was not the only one. That is why many scattered, and why many in the Republic do not trust us, and why we do not trust ourselves. Make no mistake, I am no Jedi. This is the end, you see. After this, there will be nothing, and I think it will be for the best. Do you wish to do battle now? I have nothing more to say. It provides no comfort at all, for reasons in which I still must keep secret. Suffice to say, redemption was not Revan's choice, and I have never believed those of the Council who attempt to console themselves otherwise for the crime they committed. But we have spoken enough, I think. In words I think dull us both. Let us speak through the Force, through sparring. It has been some time since you have used the Force, it is true. But there are techniques to enhance one's tie to the Force, to make your influence through the Force more potent. Yet, even as such techniques can enhance the Force, they should be used cautiously. They can drain you quickly, leaving you at the mercy of your opponents. Perhaps exile has been good to you indeed. It has certainly not dulled your instincts, nor the speed at which you learn. I shall go to Dantooine, to the ruins of the Enclave. If you gather the others, I will meet you there. And thank you, Exile. You're returning. It is good that you are back among us.
Yes, General?
Aida, I didn't think I'd ever find you. I can't believe you're here before me.
The destruction of Telos? I can't even tell you what happened after, being shuttled from system to system barely one planet ahead of the Sith fleet.
Shh. We can talk about it later. You have my thanks, stranger. I can only hope you have as much luck at what you're looking for. It's strange you came by when you did. I was right at the edge of deciding whether to give up, turning it over in my mind. And suddenly you walked through the door and gave me the answer I needed to hear. Will do. Thanks again, stranger.
Thanks again, stranger. You've returned Lutra to me, and I will be forever grateful.
Chuba poska dwana, chi chuba muska te chada nikili. Yuna se wameji yu mali de baga kintone. Tarachomo sincho kava volpa muliji. Kawana bota yunta tanga kinamato. Kavadumpa munsuru.
Ulga kili but malia nuish. But malia lechona jijiska. Gogra kinun chuba grat wikili joni. Wichi bola no jijiska bola. Tapicha yubon. Yun gogra kinun chuba grat wikili joni. Wichi bola no nilun kagratuk jimut malia bist white wata. Chichi now dun chong yoma bola yuma chichi skabul. Ulga kill. Gotma.
Greetings. I am B5.
Baboskad.
Nishasa. Nakaprota.
I heard the overseer kidnapped Adele's daughter. What did I fight for you.
To starve here on Nar Shaddaa?
Life is much easier, but if you want to find out what...
Thank you so much for returning my Adana to me.
I heard the Overseer kidnapped Nadal. If you want to find out what's going... I heard the Overseer kidnapped Nadal's daughter. Life's been easier since someone wiped out the Sirocco. Life is much...
Thank you so much for curing me.
I once fought for the Republic, and it all meant nothing.
Are you the one who killed the Overseer? Thank you.
Oh, hey. Can I ask you something? Your face. Well, you have this glow. I mean, not a real glow, but it's like you're calm. At peace, but it's more than that. You haven't been chewing on spice, have you? Oh, well, it shows. It's like you're hooked up to a power coupling. It's weird. I mean, not bad weird, just weird. For a minute there, I thought you and the Disciple... but it's just the Force. You know, hooked up a power coupling. You know? Did you get out much as a Jedi? I was asking if you two had been, you know, intimate. Got it. Just checking.
Yes? Is there something you have come to offer me? The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. Usually, my conversations do not have the give and take that our current interaction does. And, of course, there is much more screaming on the part of the listener when the torture field is activated. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. There are several factors, all of which affect each other. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. The destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on Nar Shaddaa carry a cost that would take you several lifetimes to pay back. But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, more decisively. I am not unsympathetic to such greed. For every system you stabilize, I will reward you for your efforts. See that you do not disappoint me. There is the stabilization of... You have stabilized Dantooine. The Republic has gained a power base in the Outer Rim. You have done well, and the stability you have caused shall be rewarded. I have arranged a transfer of funds from certain interests within the Republic to you. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon. Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic forecasts of many other worlds. Of course, since the destruction of the Paragas facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. Of course it was. If you had not gone there, the facility would not have been destroyed. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then all of that violence would have been unnecessary. Then stop causing events of planetary destruction. You are a walking catastrophe, and you are not making saving the Republic any easier. You have stabilized Dantooine. The Republic has gained... Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic forecasts of many other worlds. Of course, since the destruction of the Paragas facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. Ready. Status active.
Yeah, something wrong? Go ahead and ask. Look, before we get into a game of Guess the Pazak card, pull back on the throttle. I don't know you that well to start sharing our life stories.
Talk. About what?
Sure, they're easy. That's why I dress like this. When they're looking down to check you out, you can usually smash them on the base of the skull or deliver an uppercut that knocks them flat. It's simple. When you want a man, you jab him with a boffin stunner, then while he's screaming in pain, slap some stun cuffs on him. Then starve him for 2 or 3 days until he becomes open to suggestion, then double check his bounty and see if he's worth anything. Call it what you want. Me? I love my targets. Go ahead and ask. Hanhar's only a bounty hunter because that's the closest word for what he does. He's not out for credits. It's more vicious than that. And it runs a lot deeper. It's like he's out to make the whole galaxy suffer. Every living thing in it. He wants to break them, ruin them. And when they can't suffer anymore, he wants them dead. I didn't kill him once. Biggest mistake ever. That's a long story. I don't want to get into it. Talk. Why, you trying to be my mother? No thanks. Already had one. Somewhere. No thanks. I didn't need friends on Nar Shaddaa, and I don't need them now. Go ahead and ask. I've killed people before, but not if I don't have to. Oh, do I? Is that it? How you could ever possibly hope to understand is beyond me. Jedi don't have family. I know what happened at Malachor 5, and I know Jedi didn't care about life there. Get away from me. The next time you come and ask me a question, I swear I'll shoot you in the head and dump you out the airlock. What do you want now? Whatever, don't worry about it. It's just a sore subject with me. Yeah, well, they're dead. That's how that story ends. But not everybody's story has to end with losing their family or their loved ones. And not all the bounty hunting I do is for criminals or killers. There's a lot of lost people out there, scattered ever since the Mandalorian Wars. And sometimes, it's like you can almost hear them. Like an echo, calling out for each other. And maybe, just maybe by finding them, I can start putting the galaxy back together. Maybe. We'll see. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. But you're not getting anything else out of me. Yeah, something wrong? Go ahead and ask. I've killed people before, but not if I don't have to. I know, it's different. I don't know why. I don't know. I haven't killed anyone for a long time. But when I'm around you, suddenly it's like I've always been doing it. It's like a reflex. I don't like it. And I don't know when or why it became so easy. Go ahead and ask. I didn't kill him once. Do you really want to hear this? Well, Hanhar and me go way back, in the worst possible way. He's from some forest planet on the Outer Rim where Zerka had set up one of their slaving operations. Well, not for long. Once off planet, Hanhar escaped from the Zerka slavers, then killed them all. I don't know. I always thought he just liked using them as weapons. Well, before you get too teary-eyed, Hanhar figured Zerka had the right idea. I don't think he understood the concept of slavery before, at least on the scale that Zerka practiced it. But now he did. You ever hear of Dursan 3, or the ID cluster colonies? Right, that's because Hanhar happened. He makes what happened to his homeworld look like an exercise in community building. He's not a bounty hunter. He's a slaver. A predator. It's like he's out to enslave or kill every human in the galaxy, like he's trying to settle some huge score or debt. I don't get it, but he's dangerous. Anyone who paid credits. And sometimes, he just hunted humans for sport. The ones who survived, he sold to the exchange, to the huts, to anyone who'd buy bodies. Living or dead. He and Voga used to do big credit transactions. That hut really liked the look of unwrinkled humans for some reason. Didn't make him too popular with the other huts, let me tell you. I was prey. And not only did I escape, but I saved his life while doing it. He's been hunting me ever since. I don't pretend to understand it, but among his people, they have these codes of honor. But somewhere along the line, Hanhar's got twisted. His people form these things called life debts. If you save the life of one of them, they pledge themselves to you. Well, with Hanhar, he can't escape that life debt. It's bred into him. But he hates every other living thing in the galaxy, so pledging himself to someone else, especially a human, was unbearable. So when I saved his life, it was the worst thing I could do. It was like slavery all over again. But it was in his head. It was like it pushed him over the edge. A life debt to Hanhar is a death sentence. He'll hunt you until you're dead. When I saved his life, it meant he had to kill me. And so he kept chasing me in hopes I would die. I think the fact I showed him mercy after hating humans for so long, that was something he couldn't stand. Probably. But if he had multiple life debts, especially to humans, Hanhar would probably go mad. He was angry before, sure, but he'd be 10 times worse if that happened. Hanhar's tough. Really tough. And when he loses it, it's like nothing can stop him. I've seen him shrug off blaster bolts, both and stunners, and even survive a freighter crash on Dursan 3. He keeps coming. Yeah, tell me about it. Like I said, I get the impression a life debt's supposed to be a gift. But to Hanhar, it's more like a curse to both people involved. Oh, I'm glad he's gone. It's like a weight off my shoulders. I don't have to keep watching my back every minute, wondering when he's gonna show up. And he always did. It's like he always knew where I was. Trust me, if he was still alive, he'd be chasing us even now, waiting to ambush us when we least expect it. And he always shows up at the worst possible time. He was one of the best bounty hunters on Nar Shaddaa. Hanhar never gives up on his prey. Or his life debts. He's a hunter. He's a natural predator. Well, as happens on Nar Shaddaa, I made someone mad. Mad enough for them to send Hanhar after me. Turns out they were even able to get him cheap. He heard about me and wanted to hunt me down, for sport. He didn't think I'd be much of a challenge. Well, he tried to box me down in vents beneath the Nar Shaddaa docks, and he'd set one too many proximity mines to cover the escape routes. I think he'd hoped to drive me into the mines and then let them do the work. Or that I'd be too scared to try and walk through them. Thing is, I knew Hanhar's supplier, and the trigger signatures for the mines. It was pretty easy to broadcast a signal to blind their sensor receptors for a minute or two. I figured that would buy me enough time to move through them and get away. Like I said, I disarmed the trigger fuses for enough of the mines to get by, temporarily. And Hanhar was pretty fast on my trail. I just made it to safety when he hit the first one. The blast leveled the entire ventilation section, and Hanhar was caught right in the middle, and he survived. Barely. He was crawling around, blinded from the flash and the plasma burns. It had happened so fast. All the blood had been scabbed and crusted from the flash. I had the drop on him, and even blind, he knew it. He could still hear me. My ears were ringing from the blast, but I could hear him. I think he was begging me to let him live. His voice, it wasn't a roar, more like an echo of it. I suppose I should have killed him, but I couldn't do it. He was in pain, he was helpless. So I dragged him out of there enough to get him to safety, and he kept hunting me ever since. He said he'd pursue me to the edge of the galaxy. No matter where I ran, he would find me and break me, and I would always be prey. Maybe. I've thought about that moment. A lot. Wondered if I would do things differently if I had another chance.
Something up?
Yeah, something wrong? Talk. About what? Why, you trying to be my mother? No thanks. Already had one. Somewhere. No thanks. I didn't need friends on Nar Shaddaa, and I don't need them now. Go ahead and ask. Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there, I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. I had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story, you hear it all over the galaxy. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't hear much about. I think so. After Revan crushed the man with me, I got... Take a guess, Jedi. Only 2 groups of people would have lost family at Malachor. And Jedi don't have families. As much as any slave becomes a Mandalorian. They took prisoners on every world they conquered to bolster their ranks. And they took a lot of worlds. When I was young, yeah. They mostly used me to carry ammo packs and munitions. Toward the end of the war, they needed everyone they could get. They taught me to fight, to hunt, to survive. I was part of their squad, even when I was young. Everyone served as part of the unit, and I felt like I had a place there. After Malachor, it really didn't matter anymore. Mandalorians lost. Bad. But you know that. Yeah, I know. I saw the worlds they left behind them during the war. That kind of stays with you, I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, they probably deserved it. Should I be? Maybe I should ask you if you're happy about all the Jedi who died on Malachor 5. Maybe it felt like you lost family there, but I doubt it. Yeah, I know. I saw the worlds they left behind them during the war. That kind of stays with you, I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, they probably deserved it. Yeah, something wrong? Go ahead and ask. I've killed people before, but not if I don't have to. I know, it's different. I don't know. I don't like it.
Did you hear?
Haven't heard anything more.